Hello everybody, this is Mark, aka Nemesis 187, and I just wanted to take you around my little practice session in Valencia here. I'm going to show you my setup that I've been working with. Aerodynamics, 1-1 wings, 48-52 high standard. Moving the balance up to 7-11 to try that out, and I'm going to move the suspension to 1-1-10-10. Gearbox, I'm going to move the final gear down just a little bit. I was having some issues with rev limiter there. Doing qualifying here, so lean in 3, and then alignment's pretty standard. It's pretty early in the week, so I'll probably tweak the setup a little bit more, namely with the suspension, maybe some of the balance, but it's pretty close to a good setup for me. So I just wanted to kind of show you guys some of the turns and little tips I picked up, because I did practice here for a while for the Winter League. This was actually our deciding championship race. Although I came in second, I was able to actually win the Winter League. You'll also see on the left side I have a little throttle and brake board, kind of like they do in Formula 1 races, which should help you guys out to kind of see how I brake and how I throttle around corners. The in-lap, or out-lap rather, I wanted to show you just kind of some quick things. Coming around this particular corner, watch out for the wall on the left side, and the right side for that matter. You don't want to hit the walls on this. So a lot of broken wings from what I can remember. A lot of people running wide, especially here. Make sure you brake early, especially early in the race, so you don't run wide there. Very easy to lock up in this particular area. Use the curb on the left side to get maximum traction, not very much wheel spin, especially if you don't use medium traction control. Long DRS straight, great for overtaking. Don't try to overtake under braking here, because you will lock up and you'll end up going right off into this nice little off area. That'll cost you several seconds in the lead. Down here, you really want to be sure to use that curb on the right side and accelerate out of it when you're doing your qualifying and race laps. Very crisp shifts, gear changes. Make sure you're very deliberate with your racing wheel. Don't be lazy on it. That's one thing I found is probably why the reason I was slower than Corrosive. Started getting lazy with my steering. You got to be really deliberate and really get into it. This particular little section here of the track, Sector 3, fairly easy in the first part. The braking mode is going to be very tricky. You want to make sure that you brake just at the 200-meter board a little bit, glide a little bit further, and then downshift the rest of the way until you get to the end, which I'll show you here on my little hot lap. So coming around the final corner, take it wide to make sure you get maximum track room, DRS, curves all the way to the line. Take it very, very sharp. Stay on the right side as long as you can. Brake early. Make sure you don't go wide. You don't want to hit that UBS board like that. You want to stay away from that curb on the left side. Don't brake too hard over here or you will lose your back end. Accelerate out of that second chicane there. You could probably use some of your curves down this straight, especially if you're chasing another car. It'll get you into that DRS zone. You want to take that last corner there, use the curb all on the right side, just like on this, use the curb on the right side, but don't use too much or you're going to bang your right rear wheel on it. Again, DRS straight, use up most of your curves, save about 15 to 20% for that next straight coming up. Braking board is just before that DHL sign. Use as much of the right side curb as you can. I ran a little wide there. Accelerate out of it, come up, use your DRS, drop down a gear and accelerate out of that turn using the curve on the right and the left if you need to. Rest of your curves here, be on the lookout for the black flag board up top. Right just before it, get into first gear, take this as tight as you possibly can. It's a great place for overtaking in the actual race. You could use your DRS through that first corner. If you take it wide enough, you're going to probably want to turn it off for the second one and then flick it back on. Just kind of play around with it. 200-meter board, shift down very slowly. I probably lost a little bit of time in that, but we'll see how my time is crossing the line. So about a 137.455. Not a bad lap. That'll definitely get you somewhere, but it's not where I want to be just yet. So we're going to go back into the garage, make some quick adjustments, and go back out for another hot lap. I'm going to skip right ahead past the in lap, past the out lap. Just going to quickly, not sure why I didn't skip past this, but going to put in lean, 3 laps, change your tires, put on a fresh set. Since we only have one qualifying session, very easy to
the track is pretty quiet at the
just
moment.
go ahead and do a single run on your options. Big thing on the first corner, keep in mind you can cut that. Don't cut it too sharply, you'll get a warning or penalty. But it is allowable in virtual WDC rules. So coming around the first corner, again taking it very, very wide. Early on the throttle, DRS curves all the way down to the start-finish straight. Braking just before the 100-meter board. I took this in second. I probably could have taken it in first and gotten a little bit better run out of that corner, but I didn't hit that wall this time. And it looks like I did a slightly sloppy job there on that little sector. Kind of ran it a little wide. I could have probably been a little tighter there. Just before the 100-meter board. And pretty good run into there. You'll see I'm already almost half a second up on my time from not hitting that little wall there.
5 minutes to go.
Came out a little wide on the exit there, but it's not going to really hurt my time too badly. Used up most of my curves. I'm just going to look for that DHL board and just right before it. Pretty good use of the apex there, accelerating. A little bit of not quite enough on that entry part, but that was pretty good there. Coming down to this black box on the left and taking a tight line in. Really good. Still 0.456 up on my previous time. Flicking the DRS on. Could have probably had it open earlier, but I didn't really start that off very well. Braking just at the 200 and slowly down in first gear, taking a lot tighter for the actual qualifying rather than the out lap or in lap, I mean. Out lap. And managed to get it at 136.8, so that's a pretty solid lap. I'm pretty happy with that for a qualifying time this early in the week. Gonna go ahead and retire. Again, that's in the rules, you can do that. I'm just going to show you the first lap on the actual race. We're doing a 50%, so it's a little bit heavy on fuel.
You have a great chance of taking home the win today.
Big difference between medium traction control and no traction control are the starts. Without traction control, you're going to have a little bit of a trickier time unless you really master the starts. I don't have traction control on here. You can see Monolith is right on my tail. Cutting it just a little bit tight. Make sure to stay off that left side curve or you're going to lose the back end. Just after the UBS board. Ran a little wide there. The car is really heavy with fuel. Monolith is right behind me. Gonna look for just before the 100-meter board and try to hit that curve on the right side. Had to go defensive there, but I did also brake a little bit later than I'd hoped, and I did run wide. Definitely don't want to do that in the opening stages. Brake earlier if possible. So I'm right behind Monolith, but I'm pretty confident here that my setup, along with the slipstream, is gonna be enough to get me by. Just look at that. It's like I have DRS. Amazingly get past him. Fly through, still want to go defensive just in case if he wants to try to get in the underside.
Great move, first place. Let's try and
Still
stay here.
struggling to get the car around with the heavy fuel load. I'm running this in normal, but Monolith's a little bit back now on me. I'll say maybe 2 tenths or so, 3 tenths. Just before the black box, I'm braking a little earlier than I normally would, and Monolith ran into the back of me, which will likely happen to a lot of people. We're in that corner. It's one of those places on the track where if you do brake late, you're gonna lock up. If you do get run into from behind like I just did, don't try to go the clockwise route. The auto brake in this game will just lock up your tires and you're going to just run into that wall like I did. Instead, do a counterclockwise turn around that. Just run as wide as possible, and that way you're not going to have to worry about having to go in for a new front wing. Instead, you're going to lose maybe 6 or 7 seconds doing that turn, which I think is a better option than a 20-second pit stop. So I'm not really going to show you the rest of this. I think after this, I'm kind of just we're gonna restart this race, but no big deal. Just thought I'd show you guys my little tips and tricks of Valencia. I hope it was somewhat useful. I don't know, I'm not the best driver in this game, but I know some of you don't practice as much as Corrosive and I. So I will see you guys all
We've
on
got it
Saturday.
set to the options